A couple of things. So most people aren't losing sleep over what I'm about to preach from a soapbox about. So let me preface it by saying that.
I'll let you know after your soapbox.
Right. So Aztec fans will understand. If you're a men's basketball fan, you'll understand what I'm saying. So San Diego State, we all know it. They've had so much success, prolonged, making NCAA tournaments. And when they make NCAA tournaments, everyone wants to see them make a run. What's the best way to make a run? You want to be seeded properly, yada, yada, yada. And also, if you're in a league that isn't a quote-unquote power league, you want to do everything in your power in the non-conference to build a resume to get to the NCAA tournament, right? Because there's no assurances in the Mountain West. Even though this is a great year, you're going to get 5 or 6 teams in. It's not like that every year. Where the Big Ten may get 7, 8 teams every year, the Mountain West doesn't get 6 every single year. So I think the Mountain West, and this has been discussed previously, is short-sighted here. They've been playing 18 league games in basketball, Jim. That's not a full round robin. A round robin's 20. They don't play everyone home and road. Yeah. San Diego State this year is avoiding 2 of the lower division teams, so to speak. It kind of protects their metrics because even if you beat like Air Force, it lowers your strength of schedule. If you lose to them, it's an anvil on your resume. You just lost to a team like in the 200s, right? Mm-hmm. So the trade-off is you may not win a regular season title. You don't have the benefit of playing Air Force twice, but you also don't take on the added weight of playing Air Force twice. What the Mountain West decided to do today is not surprising, but to some extent, to me, again, it's short-sighted. They've had 4 teams in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. They're getting 5+ this year, right? We agree. They elected today officially to go from 18 conference games to 20, which means no more San Diego State missing Wyoming. No more missing Air Force. You always get them once, but no more missing them a second time. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Oh, John, you're overreacting. It's just 2 games. I mean, they played non-Division I games this year. They play St. Catherine, John. They can take St. Catherine off their schedule and add Air Force. What's the big deal? It's actually a really big deal. St. Catherine is a non-Division I opponent. It has no impact on your metrics. When you play a team ranked 250th in the net rankings, it automatically weighs down your strength of schedule. You could win by 1 million points. It impacts your strength of schedule, which is something the selection committee uses. There's that. There's the danger of a loss, which everyone understands. That's always a possibility. And here's the other thing. If you take 2 Aztec home games away for an additional home game and road game in the league, when you go from 18 to 20, one's at home, one's in the road. So you went from 2 games at Viejas. We know Viejas is sold out. They need the revenue. That revenue is what allows you to extend Brian Dutcher through 27-28. So what you're doing in turn is you're not going to lose the 2 home games. You'll make up for it by taking away a home and home. That BYU home and home, that Gonzaga home and home, that Stanford home and home, you can't play them anymore. You have to have a guaranteed home game to make up for the fact that now you have an additional conference or road game. I think it's short-sighted. The league has enjoyed tons of success on the basketball side. A true round robin, I get it. It's fair to crown a regular season champion, but teams in this league, including San Diego State and others, have aspirations beyond winning just a regular season title. They want to have success, get to the NCAA tournament, and win. So I don't fully understand it. I respect it, but from a sheer San Diego State perspective, and really from the league's perspective, I don't think it gets them more teams to the NCAA tournament. In my opinion, I think it'll get them fewer teams in the tournament moving forward or lower seeds as a result of this. There's my 5-minute rant. Put it in the update.
Good job, man. That was good. I like that.
Do you have any reaction? Now, you've heard me go down these things. You would never even have cared in your life about this stuff, but you're educated on it because you listen to me.
I know.
Sometimes.
Whether I like it or not.
I think you agree with me. Do you get the full nuance? Because it is nuanced.
Yeah. Yes, I understand it. And to add an extra game or 2 extra games
right.
in conference play, you lose the opportunity to schedule out of conference games and do home and homes with teams that could help your resume.
Exactly.
And if you're playing, just using it as an example, Wyoming, and their net's like 180.
Yeah, 250.
You know, it just doesn't help you at all. There's no win. But when you had previously scheduled maybe like, I don't know, like a Washington home and home.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Then
let's say they're top 75.
You miss out on a potential quad 1 game out of conference.
And for your fan base, I think obviously it's hard to schedule. So when San Diego State has a chance to play Gonzaga at home, which they do next year because they play the home and home and they'll get Gonzaga, and that's terrific for Aztec fans. But you don't want to miss out on those opportunities in the future because now San Diego State will have to guarantee home games, which means as opposed to maybe having an opportunity to play a home and home, they'll quote unquote buy a game. So you'll get an additional game against Cal State Fullerton or whomever. And that's fine. And that has value as well. But with all due respect, I think Aztec fans would prefer the opportunity to see BYU every couple of years or Gonzaga or Stanford or Washington, to your point.
Because if you added 2 extra in-conference games, there's a potential. I'm not saying that it would happen, but there's a potential that you don't see them play Gonzaga this year.
That is exactly right.
Or
now, you will see Gonzaga because it was scheduled, but into the future, when Matt Soria, who does an amazing job of scheduling, when they reach out, I'm making this up. Let's say, the University of Houston calls, whatever, Texas Tech, and say, we can play a home and home. And Dutch is like, well, I already have Gonzaga home and home. I'm making this up, and I have Stanford home and home. I can't play another road now that they've added a Mount West road game in. I need a home game.
Right.
So it makes it even dicier. Does it change everything? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, the future of San Diego State basketball is in jeopardy. I'm not saying that, but the nuance that goes into it when you're not in a quote unquote power league and you're doing everything in your power to build net large resume. I mean, everything. It's all thought out. You don't want to take away opportunities in the non-conference to provide more opportunities in the conference. It's one thing if you're playing in the Big 12, sure, everyone's in the top 100.
And if you heard Scott Van Pelt's one big
Did we
thing,
play that maybe? Yeah.
He made the great point of the Big 12. I mean, they kind of cooked the books. Like they made it so every single team in their conference has a really good net ranking. And they played nobody out of conference. Nobody. It just, I don't know exactly. I don't understand
they beat up on lesser opponents to build some level of strength, knowing that the 20 games they play in league are all against top 50 caliber opponents, and they're never going to weigh each other down.
Exactly. I still don't really understand it, but he explained that's what the Big 12 does.
Right.
That's not the case for like the Mountain West, even though the Mountain West has a lot of teams as far as like net rankings go, top 75.
But then again, there's the other shoe there is if you have a team ranked below 200, the Big 12 doesn't.
Yeah.
The Big 10, I'd have to look, by and large, doesn't, right? So that's a big differentiating factor. When you play now 4 games, let's say there's 2 teams ranked 250 or below.
Yeah.
Wyoming and Air Force, I'm making it up. Who cares? But every year, let's just say there's 2 teams below 250. You're not playing 4 games against those teams combined
with
home and road.
With more opportunities to, like Air Force who did they beat on the road?
Well, they beat UNLV by 32 points this year.
No, but
New Mexico. Just the other day.
Yeah, they beat New Mexico on the road.
You just don't want the additional.
You don't want to put yourself in that risky situation where you're like, oh my God, did we just lost to a team that was in the net ranking of 200?
And by the way, it may cost them a berth in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the point. That's why you're here.